Where were we? Oh yeah, they were talking about things and stuff. The judges aren't going to be bought off since they have a lot to lose. They make better guns by city listening and swinging their gavel. It's all about witnesses and their lawyers. What are you talking about? That I'm screwed. Well, I'm going to be the other side of you, but they aren't going to testify. They're going to testify about Oliver. They're important witnesses. Those two are doing a good job with their stuff. Olivia is at this point, like, at the very least known to commit domestic abuse to the courts in some way. I imagine that slipped out in some direction, especially since Olivia, like, the whole senator something means that if anyone cares about this case, someone will have done some research on Olivia and found out that she's involved in a domestic violence case, which is like the perfect way to make this all messy. Which also makes Inco look worse. Jesus Christ, look at all these paragraphs starting with I. I know what they did to you was wrong, but they can always change. Time will heal the wounds. Don't decide what you care about what's happening to this. We should take care of our problems first. Jesus Christ, why do we have this tertiary character? We have enough drama between the main cast. We don't need a third party. I still feel like so much could have been cleared up if you just called him detective from day one. Like, detectives have, literally speaking, a lot more background in, like, doing things like this. Especially if they're hard-boiled and don't care about their boss. But this guy feels like a beat cop. He showed up with a guy instead of on his own. Which also helps establish things, that he's doing things his own way. There's a lot of metaphorical language that people pick up on without realizing it. That's kind of important for establishing things. Last time I saw her. I'm sorry. I mean, my wife tried to murder me, but yeah, totally fucking sad to hear your wife's not having a great day. Some blames for it sometimes. You're shitty fuck. Did everything wrong that my parents did. Everything would apologize, a little time, presence, everything could be fixed. What? I mean, I'm completely lost by these characters. Look, that time left me alone. I kept changing schools and friends. They didn't support me in my most vulnerable times. I moved cities all the time because of their work. Can't remember the last time I talked to them. I could be dead and they wouldn't even know. You know, the first time, we don't know what to do. Get the fuck out of here. Go. Dude, stop hanging out with a corpse. Go hang out with your kid. I like how Inco's smart enough to realize that might be a better answer. Stop drinking that cheap alcohol. Buy some expensive booze, man. Buy some good liquor. Got the bottle of bourbon. Inco, you can't do that. That's theft and destruction of property. You can't just destroy someone's bourbon. Their bourbon. Their pandan. Garchen of bourbon? If you love him, don't become my parents. Stop being a parent. I'm fine, I'm an adult. Put your family first. Jesus fucking Christ, you can't call him Nicholas Erickson. You've known him for like 3 weeks. I don't know if what to help you. Help yourself. Don't you? I mean, I appreciate that Inco's like, you can't just have your redemption vicariously through me, man. Go talk to your kid. Your kid needs you. Don't be mad. I'm not gonna move from here. No, Eric, come out here. Taking first step for the sun. Like, I need to recover, Eric. I need to recover here. I need to stop being sick. Can you leave me alone? Think about what I told you, Inco. Why would I take your advice? You're a shit dad who can't even figure out his own domestic situation. Why should anyone take your advice on domestic situations if you're fucking up? You're 40! What the hell? Like, if you're 40, sure, your advice means something, but Inco basically pointed out you're not a good parent. You're not a good guy to take domestic advice from. I love how the story is full of people who just fucking suck, and none of them seem to understand why. And they help each other perfectly somehow. Inco should be giving really bad advice. Like, at best he can tell him, like, don't become my parents, but he couldn't tell you what actually led to that, right? And Erickson, if he is like his parents, should be, like, insulted. Like, no, I'm doing this all for my son. Like, I'm helping my son. They need this money, right? And the presents are the sweat and tears of my labor. I made those mistakes before. Did I really hate them? Not really. My chest pain was still there. And they did Eric a favor. You've known him for 3 weeks, man. I mean, he's probably been there longer than anyone else's. The cracked camera. Jesus, man. The camera's useless, but it was a memory. It's not a memory. It's memorabilia, I guess. But it's not a memory. It's just an object. But a memory of what? Of you buying a camera like a fucking idiot and getting it broken by your angry wife. It's not a great memory. I felt like my lungs were burning. That's your brain damage acting up, buddy. Your head is playing tricks because you have brain damage. Your doctor explained this to you. Reminding me of those high school days when I had a life and my wife didn't destroy me emotionally. Just cuddling on the couch. Which makes it all the weirder. I've looked ahead and apparently they don't get back together again. So, like, all these little moments to me, if you want to write a good story, these should be tragic, right? They should be Inco realizing that, like, he's just nostalgic. He should realize that, like, all he wants is what he can't have. And reality is too painful and difficult to actually get that, you know? So the relaxing couch holding hands together, giving each other affection without saying anything else. No one wants to describe that feeling. I would like to do it with her. Ew. Holding hands. So I recovered from the cold for later. Can't you motherfuckers just stop hanging out in the cold for 5 seconds? Everyone is getting cold this autumn. Everyone's out in the rain. It just rains in autumn, I guess. Thinking about that rain makes me gag. That's because of thermal shock. Feel alone. Great weight on my shoulder. The threat is to simply sink me into misery, into the abyss from which I wanted to escape. The pain was coming back. Ow, 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 oof. It seemed like the pills starting to wear off, giving me the excruciating pain in my torso. How is that not an IV they just hooked you up to? I thought you smashed the bottle of bourbon. You stole this man's bourbon? Listen, everyone knows that a good hard-boiled man drinks brandy, because it's fun to say. Inco, I would also really like to point out that depending on the kind of medication you're giving, you should not be drinking alcohol, right? Also, no, he might be 21. That might actually be fine. Not HAF, but like, I feel like when you're in a hospital and you're doped up on pain meds, don't drink alcohol out of nowhere. Ask your doctor. Aside from it tasting like shit and everything burning, it was comforting. Beer blanket, like a warm hug on a freezing cold day. Just hit the bottle under the covers. Your doctor's gonna be pissed when he finds out you've been taking alcohol with all those painkillers, man. Damien needs to die. Man, there's an argument happening in the comments, man. Well, whatever chapter 4 is, it's a big one. Ugh. 31 days since the accident. I do appreciate that we get a timeline, right? Because I feel like if you just put dates and times and stuff, it's easy to lose track of things. So, hey, now nice and them. We're going back to Inco some more. I remember that the trial is a whole ass nothing burger. It is the funniest ass shit. Wait, what's this? Everyone is fighting their own battles. I remember that's a phrase someone once. This fucking fic is so bad. Woof. It's a special kind of shit sandwich, man. It's a special kind of shit sandwich. Artisanal.